Hi, I'm Morgan, a digital marketing professional with LYFE Marketing, and I'm excited to dive right into today's video, which is showing you how to create an Instagram strategy step by step. I'll also show you how to create custom and lookalike audiences. So if this is something that you've wanted to try for your marketing, stick around to make sure you don't miss those tutorials. Grab your coffee or your tea and a notebook and come join me inside. So first, let's talk about why you should use Instagram to market your business. Now, since you're already watching this video, I assume you want Instagram to be part of your strategy, so you understand, at least on some level, how important this is for your business. So I won't spend a lot of time trying to convince you, because we do have a lot of tutorials to cover for you. But there are some impressive stats that you should know in case you're not 100% sold. 1 billion people use Instagram every month. 51% of users are female and 49% are male, so your audience is there. 130 million users tap on shopping posts every month, which is great if you sell anything online. And 50% of people have visited a website to make a purchase after they saw the item in an ad. Also, it's a great time to get on Instagram because Instagram is working on a ton of features to help small businesses. Something that I'm really looking forward to is Instagram bringing live shopping video to the platform. Before we get into it a little bit more, let's talk about how Instagram is changing because there are some changes happening to the platform. So you may have heard that the head of Instagram said last month that Instagram is no longer a photo sharing platform, that they're going to start focusing on prioritizing video content across the board. In fact, the head of Instagram said they're going to focus on 4 categories of growth: creators, video, shopping, and messaging. This is excellent news if you're a small business and you sell online. And this will affect your ad strategy now and into the future, so it's important to keep in mind these changes when you're making your ads, even today. Now you can prepare for these changes that are coming and get a head start by focusing more on your video ads, working out how you're going to make the shopping experience pleasant for your customers, and encouraging your followers to send you messages and engaging with them regularly. I'm also telling my clients to work on the following 3 things. The first is to improve the quality of the videos that they're already putting out. If you have audio issues, work on those. Trust me, I've had to do a lot of work in that department. If you have video issues, get a better camera, use a better phone, etc. Solve all those problems now. The second is you need to increase your video production. Whatever you're doing now, do more of that, whether that's 1 more video or you're even doubling your production. Whatever you can do, you should look at doing more videos. And the third thing I'm telling them to do is to get comfortable with live video. Live video is the future on every single platform, so this is very important, and now is the time to practice. Now before we get into the paid ad side of it, I want to talk a little bit about organic growth because that is a part of the puzzle for you. Now it's important for you to know that organic growth can happen, but it is getting more difficult on every single platform, except for maybe TikTok. Even though it's getting harder to be discovered organically on Instagram and other platforms, working on your organic growth is going to help your paid ads. The more active you are on the platform and the better your account is doing before your paid ads, the more the platform will work to try to boost your paid ads, if that makes sense. Now, the best way to grow your follower account and to get your posts to the right people is, of course, by running ads. Now, for my clients, I like to run a couple of ads from the very beginning. I like to do brand awareness ads so we can start getting people looking at the posts, coming to the page, and I like to go for page follow or page like ads, depending on what platform I'm on. Our goal is to get new followers for the account and to push all of those new followers to the website. Now, the best way to grow your follower account and to get new people to your business is by running paid ads. You can promote your product, you can promote your page, you can send traffic to your website, or you can get leads. Whatever you do, plan to spend at least a couple $2 a day running boosted posts and brand awareness ads. Let me explain how I do that. Let me walk you through a step-by-step strategy that I would use for any of my clients. So the first thing I'm going to do is optimize their profile on whatever network we're on. That means their profile picture, their description, any links out to the website, and any information about the business. The next is we create our organic strategy and start posting. This includes deciding on the aesthetic, deciding where things go in the feed, actually creating the graphics for them, writing all of the captions, and doing the hashtag research. Now, I like to schedule all of my posts out a month in advance for my clients. That doesn't mean that they can't post more or we can't put something up at the last minute, but at least we know for sure that our basic posts and our strategy are going to be seen through. I consider those posts my base posts for the strategy, and anything else is extra. The next thing we'll do is we'll choose a video post that's performing pretty well in the feed. we'll run an ad promoting this video to a larger audience, to new people. I like to use an engagement metric like Instagram page likes to build a lookalike audience. I'll let that run for a couple of weeks, or when I see that the performance is starting to dip and it probably won't recover. Then I'll create an audience to retarget all of the people that viewed that video. I'll send them an ad that promotes the page, asking them to like the page, follow the account to see more of the thing that they enjoyed. Once they're following the page, they'll see our organic posts, which aren't all selling, they're a third selling, but we will be directing them to the website, to the products after that. If you use a strategy similar to the one that I outlined above, you'll find that your account will grow pretty quickly and it doesn't cost you a lot of money to do. It's just something that you need to keep going consistently. If you notice with this strategy, you're targeting an engaged, interested audience, not a bunch of randos who may or may not like what you offer. So it's a bit of a safer spend for you. Experiment with this strategy and try different things and let me know what works for you. If you want a more detailed video on organic growth only where we don't talk about paid ads, let me know in the comments. Okay, let's get into your Instagram paid ad strategy. In this section, we'll discuss defining your goal for advertising, how to use custom and lookalike audiences for affordable reach, how to choose the right ad topic for your audience, figuring out how much you're going to spend, setting up your ads and then launching them, and this includes tutorials, and then monitoring your ads and evaluating performance. So first, let's talk about your goal. Now, it's important to establish your goal early on because without that, you can't create the right graphics, write the right copy, or even target the right audience for your ads. You may already have an idea of what you want to promote since you're watching this video. So on Facebook, in the Business Manager, your goals fall into 3 categories, and they're actually called objectives. The first is awareness, the second is conversion, and the third is consideration. Think about your business needs right now. Do you need to sell more of your product? Then you'll probably go for conversions. Need more people to get to your Instagram account so that they can see your stuff and fall in love? Then you're looking at awareness. Are you trying to get more leads so that your sales team has more people to talk to? Then go for consideration. As you can see, your goal will change depending on what you need for your business, and the objective that you select during the ad setup process will affect the type of ads available to you. So it's important to know this beforehand. Now next, I'm going to talk to you about finding your target audience and figuring out where they are in their customer journey. But first, we have a message from Sherman.
Hey, we just helped a small business make over $1.5 million through Facebook advertising. And after managing millions of dollars in ad spend for thousands of different small businesses, we have decided to give away everything we learned to you in a special program. If you want to learn the blueprint to success, the best practices from some of the fastest growing companies in the world, and all of the different tools you will need, then sign up for our social ads training program today.
Let's talk about finding your target audience and their customer journey. You can't make good ads if you don't know who you're making them for. This is really where the wheels can fall off in a small business marketing, is if you're throwing really great ads out there, you're working really hard on copy, but you have no idea who you're making these for. Or the idea of who you're making these for doesn't match your reality. I like to sort potential audiences, at least in my mind, into a few simple categories because it helps me decide how I'm going to advertise to them. Here's how I see them. So the first is potential new customers. These people don't know who you are and they may be interested or they may not be, but they're getting an introduction to your product or your business. The second is customers who have recently purchased from you. I like to run ads encouraging repeat purchases, asking for reviews, or getting feedback on the products. You can show similar products to them through your collection or new arrivals, or encourage them to sign up to your email list so that you can direct market to them later. Next category you have is your loyal customers. These are people who repeatedly buy from you, and they do it often. I like to run ads focusing on thanking customers for their purchases, reminding them if they have an abandoned cart because they're likely to make that purchase since they've done it so many times before, and giving them early access, special offers and discounts, things like that. Now your next group will be people who have abandoned their cart. These are people who looked at your items, they added it to their cart, but they haven't made the purchase yet. I like to focus these ads on re-engaging the customer, reminding them what they're losing by not purchasing. And I like to show them special discounts, first-time buyer deals, that kind of thing to convert them into a customer. And your final group is going to be previous customers. These are people who did buy from you, but they've not come back to make another purchase. You can focus these ads on winning the customer back, showing them a shiny new product, giving them a discount, or letting them know if the business has changed in some way. I really like to focus my ads on existing customers, keeping those conversions coming in, keeping those customers happy, because it's less expensive to keep a customer than it is to get a new one or to win one back. After that, I like to look for new customers, and then we can talk about winning back customers who maybe aren't our biggest fans. But that would be lowest on my priority list for running ads for a new client. You can take each of the above audiences and create lookalikes for them. This is finding people who behave like them online, who like the same kind of things that they like, but who haven't engaged with your business at all. Let me share an example with you. Let's say that you sell a Premier chocolate box, and you know that most of the people who bought the Premier box previously purchased the smaller starter box. Now you can retarget everyone who's purchased the small box, but who hasn't yet purchased the premium box with an ad inviting them to do so. I'll go over lookalike audiences a little bit more in a few minutes with a detailed tutorial on how to create one, so stick around for that. First, let's look at your custom audiences on Instagram. Now, it's important to note before we get into this that Instagram is constantly evolving their audiences and their targeting options as privacy rules are changing around the world. So it's important to keep up to date with these. If you subscribe and follow our channel, you'll get all the latest news from us, and you'll know that what we're teaching you is up to date. Okay, let's talk about how custom audiences work and how we can use them. Custom audiences use data based on interactions from your website, your Instagram account, and lists that you upload to the platform. These audiences are considered a warm audience. They typically work better than just targeting based on interest, location, or demographics because they're more likely to like what you're offering since they've already engaged with you. And because they're more likely to buy from you, the intent is higher. Usually these audiences are less expensive to advertise to than cold audiences because they're more likely to take that action more quickly. And these audiences are what you will use to make your lookalike audiences. You have to have a source audience to create a lookalike audience. Let's talk about your targeting options for your custom audiences. Now, an engagement custom audience is made up of people who have engaged with your Instagram account in some way. They followed it, they've liked a post, they've shared something, saved something, or sent you a message or left a comment. The second is a customer list custom audience. Customer list custom audiences are an audience that you'll upload yourself. You can get these lists from your mail provider or your CRM. I like to upload customer lists as soon as I can. Now, Facebook requires that you have at least 100 people on this list that they can find on Facebook. So as soon as your list meets that requirement, I would get that uploaded. The third is the app activity custom audience. This audience is made up of people who downloaded your app, who engaged with your app, opened it and played it, or who made a purchase in your app. And the fourth is a website custom audience. This audience is made up of people who engaged with your website in some way, looking at a page, adding something to their cart, signing up for your email list, or making a purchase. Now you want to try each of these targeting options and test them out to see which one works best for you. And you'll also use a different audience depending on your objective and your goal for your business. Let's briefly go over some best practices for your audience type. For engagement audience best practices, first, you never want to buy engagement like likes or follows because then this metric will be useless to you. And second, you want to make sure that you have content that's worth engaging with. Now, for your customer list, a similar rule. Make sure that these people chose to be on your list. These should be people who opted into your email by entering their information in, or people who have given you their information for your business, not a list that you've purchased from somebody else. And make sure that you keep these lists updated. Other custom audiences like engagement or pixel website activity or app activity will update automatically, but you'll need to refresh your audiences as they change. Now, for your app activity best practices, you want to advertise to your app users who are on Facebook and do this based on their in-app activity. For example, purchases, last time they opened it, when they downloaded it, etc. And then before you can actually use this audience, you need to do a few things. You need to register your app on Facebook. You need to set up the SDK and log app events in Facebook Developer. That way Facebook knows what people are doing and how to serve ads to them. Now, there are going to be 14 pre-selected app events that you can use, or you can make your own if those don't work for you. Now, when you're setting up these ads, all of the app events that you've set up for will auto-populate, so you won't have any choices available to you that won't actually work, which is really nice. And now let's look at your website audience best practices. Make sure that you've installed the pixel and that you've properly set up events. You want to show ads to people depending on their activity on the website. So make sure you've optimized for page views, email signups, add to carts, purchases, anything that's valuable to you. Okay, now let me show you how to set up a custom audience in the Facebook Business Manager. From Business Manager or Ads Manager, click the hamburger menu and click Audiences. Now you click the blue Create Audience dropdown and select Custom Audience. Select your Instagram professional account. If you haven't upgraded yet, you'll need to do this. From the drop-down, you'll choose the Instagram account that you want to connect to your audience. You probably won't have more than one option here. I have more than one option because I work with a lot of different clients. Choose the engagement type that you would like to include for this custom audience. Your choices will vary here depending on your objective. Add the number of days that you would like to include for your audience parameters here. There's a maximum of 365 days. The number of days is dynamic, so your audience will update as people are added or removed from the group based on their activity. So once you set up your custom audience with your time frame, this will automatically update, so you don't need to worry about going back in and recreating this audience every month or every year. Choose any additional audience types or engagement types here. Add an audience name and an optional description. I like to be pretty clear with my audience name and include who's in the audience and a time frame if applicable. Then click the Create Audience button. Now you'll be able to access this custom audience anytime you're going to create ads. I love custom audiences because they work great for retargeting. But like I mentioned before, custom audiences are essential to building great lookalike audiences. And you definitely want to use lookalike audiences. So let me show you how to make one of those now. Let's look at what a lookalike audience does and how it's made. As I mentioned before, a lookalike audience will find people who have never engaged with your business before, depending on what source audience you're using, like engagement with your page, engagement on your website, your customer list, or your app activity. So this is an entirely new audience to you that Facebook does all the hard work to find, which I think is probably one of my favorite things. So you need a source audience to create your lookalike audience. And as I mentioned before, your source audience needs to have at least 100 people that they can find on Facebook. However, I've found that the best source audiences are between 1,000 and 50,000 people. Anything smaller than that can get a little difficult to maneuver. Anything bigger than that can just be a little bit too broad. Let's create your lookalike audience on Instagram. Go to your audiences in the Facebook Business Manager. You can also create a lookalike audience during your ad setup using any of your saved custom audiences, and you can create custom audiences from there as well. But I'll show you the process through audiences. Select the Create Audience dropdown again, but this time choose Lookalike Audience. You're going to choose your source audience here. I recommend getting value-based sources if you can, using something like purchases or adds to cart. You can't set up an audience like that though until you've had sales on your website. So if you don't have any sales yet, don't optimize for purchase conversions because it won't work. Instead, focus on getting people to your website and then trying to get those purchases. But let's get back into it. Next, choose a country or countries where you'd like to find those similar people. Choose your desired audience size with the slider here. The smaller your lookalike audience percentage is, the more likely they are to behave like your source audience. So I recommend keeping this at 1%. And just make sure that you watch the audience size down here as well. Next, you'll select Create Audience. Now you can use more than one lookalike audience in your ad targeting, so if that works for your marketing, feel free to do that. And you can actually make up to 500 audiences using one source, so don't get worried about doing this too often. Go to town if it makes sense for you. Here's a look at my process when I get a new client and we're talking about creating these audiences. These are the things that I ask for first. First, I want a custom list to build that lookalike audience off of. I always ask for a custom list first because this is usually the most valuable. This will come from their email list if they've been doing email marketing, or from their contact list in their CRM, or some sort of record-keeping platform that they're using. If they don't have a custom list built up, then I will look for website activity next. If we don't have a lot of website activity, like it's a brand new website, or there haven't been any purchases, or the pixel isn't installed, then I will ask for page or account engagements of some type. Now remember, this is provided my client didn't buy followers, which you should never ever do. So if the engagement is good engagement, I will use that to start driving some traffic. But my main goal is really to build up those website audiences and really look for that value-based audience, people who are making those purchases. Now let's figure out what ads you're going to show after you have all of these audiences made up and everything figured out. How do you know what ad topic to choose for your audience? So the ads that you decide to show will depend on your goal for your business, your objective for that ad, and what your audience is likely to engage with. Here are some of the questions I like to ask myself while I'm creating new ads for a client. First, what is my goal? What is the client's goal? What are we trying to achieve from these ads. Next, who has completed my goal before? Is there an audience that's already done this thing that I can use as a source to create a lookalike audience? I also like to know who's done this goal before. That way I can ask myself why they completed this goal. What led them to make this decision? Fourth question is, what situations led them to the business or to this purchase? What's going on in their lives, or what need do they have filled that your business met for them? The fifth question is, what matters to that audience? And the sixth question is, what product or service or message will help meet that audience's needs in that moment? Now, each of these answers will guide you to the people that you're actually targeting, the people that you're looking for. And it will guide you to where they are in their lives or where they're at on their customer journey. What is it that they need to hear at this moment from you that will help them make that purchase? I like to actually answer these questions and formulate each one in a couple of sentences. Then I like to expand on the whys or the answer to that question with a paragraph or two. From those two pieces of writing, I like to take calls to action from the shorter sentences and bigger descriptions or lines that I really liked from the more detailed paragraphs. You don't have to go that far. If you just want to conceptualize the questions that help you decide on what ad to run, that's fine. This just helps me save some time when I'm writing copy later. Now, you want to make sure that you A/B test versions of your copy and your creative to see what works best with your audience. You can even A/B test audiences. I actually just recently did a video in depth about A/B testing that you can check out. Don't miss it on our channel and subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Okay, now let's figure out how much you're going to spend on these ads. Instagram ads are pretty affordable actually. They're between 70 cents and $2 per click on average. According to RevealBot data, the average cost per click on Instagram in July of 2021 was $1.28. Now, if you're new and you really have no idea how much you're going to spend on ads, I recommend starting with at least $650 a month. But if you want to do a little bit more math and figure some other things out for yourself, then I have a great tool that will be super helpful for you. I like to use the advertising calculator ROI, which was put out by HubSpot. This is also a good tool to use if you have an ad that's running and you're wondering which part of the ad you need to change to see the most improvement. But you can just fiddle with things here and fill in each of the fields to see what changes and how it affects everything else in the ad. As I mentioned, for most of my clients, I like to have them start with at least $650 a month. If you're starting with less than that, it's not impossible. You can see results. It will probably just take a bit longer. Okay, let's look at setting up and launching your ads because you're almost ready to go.
As I mentioned before, you can set up your Instagram ads on Facebook. Let's walk through how to do that. When you go to your business.facebook.home, you'll land here. Click Ads Manager. You'll land on the Campaigns tab and click Create to make a new campaign. Choose your objective, and you can name your campaign at this time, or you can do all of this later. You set up your campaign as you would for your Facebook ads by naming everything, choosing special categories. If you run A/B tests, which I recommend, toggle that on here. You can also toggle on your campaign budget optimization, which I recommend. You can choose a daily or a lifetime budget, and click Next. Choose where you'd like to drive your traffic, your website, your app, Messenger, or WhatsApp. Don't forget to name your ad set something that makes sense to you later on. You can toggle here to use dynamic creative, set your budget schedule, and add your audience targeting here. If you'd like to create new customer lookalike audiences, you can do that during setup, and you can use your saved audiences from here. You can also save an audience that you create anytime during ad setup, which I think is really helpful. Choose your placements. Now, this is where we'll target Instagram specifically. Instead of using automatic placements, which Facebook recommends, we're going to go manual placements. I like to uncheck Audience Network most of the time for my clients. I found that these placements cost a lot of money but don't necessarily bring in anything. If you just want to show your ads on Instagram, you can start unchecking the Facebook placements here manually. I would probably uncheck in-stream and in-article, depending on how those have done for you before. You want to make sure that you pay attention to your audience definition over here. The audience I'm using right now is too big. I would like to get that a lot smaller to 100 to 500,000 people. Any adjustments that you make to your targeting are going to affect your audience definition. You want to stay in the green area for most of your efforts. You can ignore this if you're more advanced, but I recommend following this at the beginning. You can change your optimization here if you would like to. We're going to stick with link clicks and click Next. You're going to go about your ad setup like you would for all of your ads on Facebook. Choose your media, add all of your text. If you've chosen dynamic creative, toggle on optimized creative for each person. Select your call to action and add other options. If you're using dynamic ads, you want to make sure that you max out all of your options. Choose your tracking and publish.
Okay, so now that you've set up your ads, you've launched them, let's talk about how to monitor your ads and evaluate performance. When I run ads for my clients, I like to launch them and let them run for a couple of weeks without touching them again, provided nothing has gone wild and we're not overspending or seeing terrible results. When you're monitoring and evaluating your ads, there are a few things you need to look out for. The first is when your ad is in the learning phase, you don't want to touch it. Your ad will leave the learning phase when it has received 50 optimizations for whatever your objective was in a week. Once your ad does leave the learning phase, leave it, watch it for a couple of weeks, and just let it do its thing. While you're letting it do its thing, you want to watch for a couple of things. You want to watch for frequency. This is how many times your ad is being shown to people in your audience. Once it gets over 3 or 4, it has diminishing returns and it will cost you a lot of money and probably annoy people. So I like to watch that and make sure that it doesn't go over that. If it hits a 3 or 4, then it's time to refresh creative or make your audience bigger or make some sort of change like that. You also want to watch your ad relevance diagnostics. This is your quality ranking, your engagement rate ranking, and your conversion rate ranking. If any of these are below average, then you need to make adjustments. Your below average scores will really affect the cost of your ads, driving them up over time. So that's during your ad. Also, you're going to want to watch your spend, make sure that that's not doing anything strange, and watch to see if you're getting those conversions. Now remember, there is a bit of a delay in reporting here, so it's important if you see something going a little bit weird, don't shut things down immediately. Give it a couple of days to see if it will recalibrate and adjust. Now, after your ad is done, you've turned it off, it's time to evaluate the success of your ad. Here's what I like to do. I'll look at all the same things that I looked at when I was running the ad, like quality rankings and frequency, cost, and conversions. I also like to check click-through rate, your cost per click, and your ROI, which is your return on investment. Look at all these metrics in combination with each other to determine how well your ad did. You may be performing poorly in one area, but really well in all of the rest. The trick is you have to look at the big picture and consider it all. Now, if you're happy with how many conversions your ad got and all of the other metrics look pretty good, like your frequency and your quality rankings, you can run your ad again to see if it will perform similarly. I would recommend running an A/B test, maybe testing a different audience or freshened creative to see what will perform better, your original or a new ad. Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet? We're coming out with tons of videos to help you master your digital marketing, and you definitely don't want to miss those. Hit the notification bell so that you know when we have a new video come out or when we go live. Also, if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up so that I know. I'd love to hear from you in the comments if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos. Thank you so much for sticking around with me and taking the time out of your day to watch my video. Happy Instagram marketing.